Hi. Well, here we are with the final essay. The proposal argument essay, which they sometimes refer to as the policy. The reason I call it a policy essay, which is a little different from what the authors of Everything's an Argument call it, is that this is exactly what we're going to do, is propose some sort of policy. So the proposal policy argument is to be a minimum of 2,000 words. Yes, we bump this up significantly. It's twice as long as our earlier work, but there's a reason for that. You're going to need that extra space, those extra words. In fact, if you aren't getting to well over 2,000 words, you probably haven't done the job of writing this essay properly. Now, you need to look at chapter 12 in Everything's an Argument, okay, because this is the proposal chapter. Your essay must cite a minimum of 8 outside sources. Repeat, 8 outside sources, 6 of which originate in print or have print analogs. That means they're books, magazines, journals, newspapers, government reports, that sort of thing. At least 4 of those sources must be scholarly works, such as dissertations, academic journal articles, or university press books. Okay? And again, Mesa College's library is the best place to go to get that material, whether it's an ebook. Get the University Press books on ebook. Dissertations are typically found on ProQuest. Academic journal articles can be found on JSTOR or EBSCOhost, as long as you click on the peer review only button when you're doing your search on EBSCOhost. Okay. You can also find scholarly work on the website called Google Scholar, which a lot of my students like to use as well. Now, these sources must be presented in correct MLA fashion with both parenthetical in-text documentation and a works cited page. Now, keep in mind that MLA is now in the 9th edition. Some of you are still working in earlier editions, which is better than nothing, of course, but it's not really accurate. Dictionaries, encyclopedias, and other general reference works do not count as sources, but of course they may be used. Your essay must start with an abstract of the essay, which should run about 100 to 200 words. The abstract does count towards your total words. So in other words, there you go. You're already getting 100 to 200 words done out of your 2,000 just when you write the abstract. Now, this being said and done, let me remind you that this particular assignment is more structured than our previous one. So if you're saying, well, what's an abstract? Well, I want you to look at the sample paper, but an abstract is basically a summary of your own work, your own essay. If you've done any research in EBSCOhost or JSTOR, you undoubtedly have seen abstracts. They are the brief little summaries that are presented with articles that say what's in the article, so you don't have to read the whole article if in fact it doesn't have what you want. Now, the topic will be a topic of your own choosing, but just as a reminder, there are a few topics that are off limits: abortion, death penalty, child abuse, and religion. Okay, so again, those are the verboten topics of the semester. They remain verboten. Certainly, there are many other topics to choose from. You must also provide a word count of your essay at the end of the text, covering only your actual text. Again, don't include the works cited page, don't include any tables or anything else like that that might, artificially boost up the word count. Now, this essay will be divided into 3 major sections called problems, solution, and benefits, as discussed in the sample proposal policy essay video. Again, that can be found in our module, and I cannot emphasize enough how important it is that you spend some time looking at that sample paper, going through it. I do have a video that goes with it, but then you also can just look at the paper on its own. So you can see the things like the abstract, the 2-paragraph introduction, right, where you take, for instance, your hook and blow it up to an expansive paragraph just by itself, and then you do the other two parts of the intro, which is introduce the subject and thesis, because you have more space, right? You're not a 1,000-word paper, now you're a 2,000-word paper, so you have the liberty, if you will, of spending a little bit more time with an intro. Now you will need to submit the rough draft on Wednesday, August the 10th by 11:59 p.m. The more work you put into the draft, the better that your final draft will be. Based on previous experience, I can tell you the difference in the grades of essays that have been peer edited and those that have not is striking. I know I say that every time, but it's true every time. Now keep in mind that the rubric for the rough draft is actually very simple. It's you have it at least halfway done. Now, so for that earlier papers, that was a 500-word thing, which is not very much, right? Well, now halfway done means at least 1,000 words. So keep that in mind as well. Again, the more you do by Wednesday, the better your final draft is going to be ultimately. Be sure to consult the out-of-class paper guidelines and the MLA handbook, or the handouts that we have from the handbook, pardon me. Those, of course, are posted. I don't expect anybody to actually have the handbook. Now, if you do, that's great. But use my my handouts, and also be sure to, check on Purdue OWL or any of those other helpful sites. As before, you should submit the rough draft both to me and to a peer group. Peer edits should be due by Thursday, August 11th. So remember, this is the end of the semester now. We're bumping up against the end of the semester. So instead of having 2 days for peer edits, we only have 1. Revise and polish your essay and turn in the final draft at close of day, Friday, August 12th, 11:59 p.m. Now, it's really important that you not be late because the class does close down. Canvas closes down. 11:59 is the end of our semester. Please do not be late. Late essays, if you have a doctor's note, you've been carted off to the emergency room or something like that, you're going to have to take it incomplete for the semester, but it's not going to work without documentation. This, I had the sniffles kind of thing is not going to work. At least 2,000 words, or minimum requirements, at least 2,000 words, and that includes the abstract and the composition of your essay. At least 8 sources cited in the paper, at least 6 originated in print, at least 4 sources are scholarly work. Now you can always have more. Remember, this is minimum, not maximums. Make sure you have an abstract at the start of the essay. Make sure you follow the problems, solution, benefits format as shown in the sample essay that we see in the module. Make sure you have MLA documentation for both in-text and works cited page. So there's a lot that's going on here. And the thing that I really want to urge you to do is take a look at the sample paper that's posted in the module. I think a lot of people have neglected to do that. I know a lot of people have neglected to do that. And honestly, your work suffers because of that. Please take advantage of the resources that you're being given. But I can guarantee a failing paper if you're not actually looking at that, okay? As always, if you have any questions, please reach out to me via email or through the message inbox. If you feel that we need to have a Zoom conversation, let's see if we can't get something set up at a mutually convenient time. I always enjoy the opportunity to speak with students directly. It's one of the things that I hate about the online experience is I don't really get to see the students and talk with you. And I think sometimes that can really make a big difference. So take care.